So if you are going to start a business, you don't have knowledge, you will perish. If you are going to start a contract, you don't have knowledge about the contract, you will perish. If you are going to start marriage or you're going to marry, you don't have knowledge, you will perish. If you are going to start schooling or you're going to write an exams, you don't have knowledge, you will perish. So anybody who goes to an exam room and says, I've not learned, but God will write for me, you will perish.
Your mind is being shaped.
We are going to be talking about holy shortcut, the holy shortcut. And we are going to look into how religion replaced strategy in Africa. This is an interesting topic. And from the beginning, we want to make this very clear that we are staunch Christians. We believe in God, and we just believe that this is a topic that we have to discuss to make sure that we understand what is happening and how we can optimize our faith in God and then optimize our productivity and be globally competitive. Because if you have a belief that restricts you or that prevents you from being the actual optimum level that you can achieve in life, it's limiting you from doing that, then it means that there is a problem. So we need to delve deep into that and understand what is happening within the African space when it comes to religion and how can we curtail some of these things. All right. So with this being said, as usual, I have my co-host Emmanuel, and we are going to delve deep into religion and how it became a replacement for every strategy we need as Africans. All right, Emmanuel. So over to you. What do you think about this topic as usual before we start?
Politics and religion are the most sensitive topics you can discuss in Africa. And Africans have a lot of deep sacred connection with God. And so, from us, that even when we wake up in the morning, we pray, we go to school, we pray, we sit before we eat, before we sleep. Like prayer has been part of our lives, right? From Muslims background to Christianity to like the traditional side, every area of our lives, there is that sense of spirituality and the sense of religion. So we know that it's very interesting topic, but it's also very critical and very sensitive. All that we are trying to say is that at the end of the day, we just want people to understand that there are some processes that men or people must go through in spite of serving God or loving God. So we want to essentially say that at the end of everything, you can be very holy, you can be very prayerful, but still be able to build structures and systems that will work out things for you and become very relevant in your space.
I feel you are being lenient on this topic, but I would go straight forward.
That's the point, because I think it's a very sensitive one.
It's sensitive, but let me go straight to the point. I would say that religion has done us more harm than good. I'll be real. I will not come and sugarcoat. No. Religion has done us more harm than good, and because my belief is that religion is a way at which man tries to connect with God. Our own processes we want to put together in order to be able to connect with God. But religion, as we see in Africa, has become a cancer that is destroying many potential. And as the topic has been mentioned, the holy shortcut, we have situations where people, instead of building their lives, begin to have the narratives like they are depending on God for this and that and that. I don't have a problem that you are depending on God, but God would only bless a man who has something to show or something that to prove. Imagine someone who comes to you and says that I'm believing God to own a multi-dollar company when you don't even know how to write a business plan. Are you kidding me? No, this is what we are defining as the holy shortcut.
Yeah.
You have not gone through the pain to learn how to write a business plan. You have not gone through the pain to really understand what marketing is. You don't even know what SWOT analysis is. You don't know all these things. You don't know what competitive analysis is. You don't even know what guerrilla marketing is. You don't know all these things. And then you sit in your room and you say that I know God is going to make me a multi-million dollar company owner. You are joking. Before God opened the Red Sea, he asked Moses, what do you have in your hands? Before Jesus fed the 5,000, he asked them, what do you have? You understand? In Africa, religion has built it in a way that it takes away the action we have to take, and then it makes us over dependent on spirituality. And that is what we call spiritual laziness.
You know why I was nodding my head? I really like how you are bringing the whole thing, Michael. It means that Africa has replaced the system, what we are even supposed to do, the human responsibility. We have actually replaced it with God. And
Yeah.
you use quotations from scripture. But then I just want us to, not to digress, but I just want us to pick this whole thing from another angle. Why are Africans so deep into religion? There's a research, in fact, that was a recent one I read from Pew Research Center, which says that Africa is the highest or the most religious continent in the world. It mentioned South America, Asia, and North America, Oceania, and even Europe was the last. And it tells me that we all know the story, how these people, colonial times, how they invaded, the missionaries invaded our continent. We've talked about this over our past or the previous episode. So why are we at this point in time? Why are we so deep? We so deep into religion like that?
My answer will be quite shocking. I just want to say this. You see, if you have the root connected to the ground or connected deep into the soil, and it has connection to access to water, no matter how many times people cut the tree down, it will still germinate. No matter how someone tries to destroy the tree or plant a different, I've forgotten how we call this, but there is a way you can put other plants on a different tree for it to grow. I've forgotten, it's in agriculture. I've forgotten how we call it.
More like
no matter
grafting.
how you, yes. No matter how you do that, the truth is that the deepest part of that root is still working. And so anything you add to it, it is still connected and it will grow with it.
So what do you mean by the deepest root?
The deepest root, I mean that their source, the original source, is still there. So even if you come to deceive them, they still connect to the original source, and even the deceit will still grow based on their source. Africa had a deep connection with spirituality even before anyone came in. We had a deep connection.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, before anybody came in Africa, we had our own way of spiritualizing, of spirituality. That is why if someone becomes a Christian, he goes deep into it. That is why if someone becomes a Muslim, he goes deep into it, because we have a deep source. We have a very deep source. I said humanity started from Africa because in those days, in our communities, it was hard for people to kill each other.
Yeah.
Because of our belief system, because of our spiritual system. I understand that people talk about sacrifices and all that. That's fine, but I'm talking about human to human relations. Hardly would you hear of people being inhuman to each other because of how deep our spirituality was. Do you understand? So if you ask why Africans are so deep into it, it is not because someone came in. That has been our originality. That has been who we are from the beginning. But one thing you need to understand is that at that time, our spirituality was equal to our ability to build. But now, our spirituality is equal to our ability to wait. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because when you go back into our history, if you go back into our history, we've said this before, our history is largely connected to Africans who were merchants. Our history is largely connected to Africans who were controlling the world trade systems. Our history is largely connected to empires that were trying to take over the world. Our history is largely connected to Africans who were warriors. We did not lay back. So the spirituality of our fathers and our great grandfathers made them vicious. They became very powerful and they could get anything done. Compare that to our spirituality today. Everyone is laid back. What changed? The only thing that changed was the introduction of the man that came in, and he realized that Africans were too aggressive. And so he had to tame us down. And the taming is where the religion came in. So religion has a way to tame you, to bring you to subjection. And after you have been subjected to know that you can't think above what you know, you are not going to think about it. So the people that break out of this, that's why most of them begin to talk against Christianity, Islam, and all. That's why they begin to talk against them.
That's true.
And you begin to hear people say that, why are we ignoring our forefathers, our forefathers roots, their spirituality? Why are we ignoring all those things? Because they are broken out of the religion and they are now connecting back to the source. But that's where me too have decided that's fine. I have broken out of religion, but then I'm also connecting to a different source. So religion are the practices that has been put in place to limit you and to direct you as where to go. But your relationship with the Creator, your relationship with whoever you want to relate to, that is Christ, that is where it becomes different. So whatever power our ancestors were deriving for spirituality, I am trying to tap into the same that same spirituality outside the domain of religion, because religion will tell you not to do certain things to be able to tame you down. Tell me why someone will believe that God will bless him, but he is still in his room fasting and praying for a job, praying. He only applies for 10 jobs and he goes into his room and he begins to fast and pray and telling God that, God, I have done my part. Which part have you done?
This brings me back to like the issue of waiting you mentioned and miracle. Listen, you made a very profound statement. You said that in the olden days, their religion was based on their ability to build. But in our days, our religion is based on our ability to wait.
Yeah,
and
because we are waiting for God.
Interesting scenario. You've applied for a job, like 3 jobs, and you are fasting in the room, praying, waiting on God, and all these things. You see, I believe that anything worthwhile requires a level of push. And so when you mention this issue of wait and miracle and all, I just wanted to touch on that. Why people are we becoming lazy at thinking, at work? Like, what is the impact of waiting and miracle?
Let me shock you. There was a time in 2000, I've forgotten the year. The main supply of electricity and energy in Ghana is the Akosombo Dam. It was believed that the water in the dam was getting dried up. All right. Do you know the best thing we could think about? We called men of God.
I meant to say pray.
Literally, that's what we did. We called pastors. to go to Akosombo Dam to go and pray.
Okay, I will have an argument, but anyway, go ahead. Do you know that somebody will also agree to it?
Yes. Listen, I won't be surprised. It will never happen. But I'm just giving you an example. Imagine that any other country decides that it's coming to attack Africa. I'm telling you for a fact that Africa will call for crusade. Africa will call for all 9 services. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm telling you that the same God we are praying to is the same God that was giving instruction to David how to plan war.
This is deep. You have actually gone deep. This is
deep. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is the same God who was telling David how to plan a war. He was teaching him literally. He was telling him, don't go here. If you go here, you will die. So what makes you think that
he said you teaches my hand how to walk?
Yes. God is teaching his hands how to walk. So you see the disconnect between our reality and religion. When others are thinking about how to take over, we are thinking about how God can make us take over. Meanwhile, God has given you everything that pertains to life and godliness. He's giving you everything. He has not asked you to go for war, but if it comes, defend yourself. He will defend you as well. But do you know, even the Israelites, when they were going for war, God was behind them. Because he knew, yes, God has a way to save them, but then why would God say that for Israel to go for war? Because he knows that when it comes to that part, he has to make you win, but you must be prepared.
You must be prepared.
There have been times where the Israelites went to for war and they were beaten up. Do you understand? So I'm just bringing the disconnect between religion and our strategic thinking. That is why I give the example of the war. There is a huge issue when it comes to our strategic thinking. And I'm talking at the highest level, but if you come to our individual level, that is safety that is happening. The things that you need to sit down and be strategic about. The reason why I can tell someone today who is listening, the reason why one of your prayers are not being answered yet is because you have not come to the point of being strategic, because before God answers any prayer, he asks you, what do you have? That's
because you have not been strategic.
Yes.
To me, when you say you are not being strategic, I feel you are going against some of the scriptures in the Bible. Like you
What
mentioned, we are all
scriptures?
Christians. I know people from Islam also, because in the Bible, I know somewhere that Bible says that if the Lord does not build a house, the builders build it but in vain. And if he doesn't watch the city, those who watch the. So what is the strategy? If you build and you are building in vain, or is it that the scripture that we are not even getting the reality of it? Like you mentioned strategy. That's
You see,
very
I'm not going deep into that. I don't want us to go into that discussion.
okay.
I'm just saying that if you are praying for God to give you a job, your strategy must be clear. What is your strategy? How many jobs have you applied for? As a matter of fact, me as a personal coach or as a personal coach to people, I tell people that the reason why they don't get jobs is because they don't apply to jobs like they are supposed to apply. As a matter of fact, you can't tell me you need a job and you're applying for 10 jobs and you go in your room and pray. The person who has not prayed and is applying 100 jobs a month. I know someone will say it's not realistic, but people have done it. We have all done it. If someone has a strategy and he says that I'm applying 100 jobs a month, in the next 1 year, that person will get a job and you still be in your room praying. Yeah, strategy. We are very good at analyzing scriptures, but we are not good at analyzing marketing strategies. Yeah, we are
What
good.
do you mean by strategies? Can you bring it a bit down for some people? Like for some of us, so that when you are saying strategy, are you thinking, because Michael, the topic we are discussing is very sensitive. The reason I don't want us to, well, we don't want to go into that scripture, but the point is, most people will infer, they will pick the reason for their actions from Bible. You know what? And I'm not saying we should do Bible studies to talk, because if you meet a religious person, they would probably infer some of these actions from
That
Quran.
is the problem. See, you are literally telling me what the problem is. You are literally telling you are cementing the problem. That is you said if you meet a religious person, you bring that is the problem. The problem is that the person is not detached. The person is not detached. He's not detached from the problem.
So there's a level of detachment. Wow.
The problem is the religion itself. So if you are religious and we are talking about this and you still see it as a problem because you're not detached yet. That is why I was telling you that let's not discuss this, because there's a whole thing on its own. What we are discussing now is that people need to understand that before God will do anything for man, he needs you to have a plan.
Hold on. I want you to reiterate this statement, Michael.
Before God will do anything for a man, he has to make sure that you have a plan. Listen, God will not leave his precious assignment into the hands of a man who is lackadaisical.
That's absolute. That's right.
No, it will never happen. Through our scriptures, who has done huge thing for God, the person was useless. Who has done a huge thing for God, and the person was already not building his life. Who? Just mention one for me.
Everybody. Abraham.
All of them were having a life. All of them were building a life. All of them had dreams. They had goals. Even the apostles, even the disciples he called, he didn't call unemployed men.
Mention the disciples, right?
Yes. Even the disciples, he didn't call unemployed men. He called men who had businesses, who had jobs, who understood systems, who understood economics, who understood law, who understood medicine. Luke was a doctor. So this is what I'm saying. Religion is making us come to a point where we are beginning to believe that even if we are nothing, God will bring us to something. God can do that. I'm not saying he can't do that, but he will do that for special people. Yes. And that is the reason why the church is packed. Someone asked me some time back that why is it that majority of church members are so poor? And some of these explanations I gave. I said it's because they don't understand how God works. They don't understand how God works. If you want to understand how God works, go and look at all the people he worked with in the Bible. Who were they? What were their background? What did they do?
What were they doing?
What were they doing? You want to become a CEO. You are not doing anything. You are just praying. You think God will hand you something precious like that? Even Jesus, who could have commanded bread and fish from the sky. He asked the people, he said, do you have bread? Do you have fish? He took it and he multiplied it. In other words, God will only multiply the things that you have done with your hands, the things that you have already gotten to know.
If I'm summarizing all what you are saying, it means that God does not reward passivity.
No.
God does not reward that. And
no,
it's so intriguing. Wow.
And that is what religion has made us to believe. Religion has made us to believe that when there is flood in our country, we should go to church and pray to God that he should stop the rain. But flood needs drainage, needs huge drainage systems built under buildings, built under roads to pass through them to move out of the city. But this is what religion will tell you. When there is flood, God is the commander of flood. He will stop it. How many years now that some of the major cities in Africa are getting flooded, people are dying? We are still praying and the same thing keeps happening.
So even miracles will always meet movement.
Absolutely. Miracle will always move movement. It will meet movement. Yes. Until you move. Until you move, God will not move. Blind Bartimaeus, he needed a miracle. Until he shouted the name of Jesus, Jesus would have passed. The woman with the issue of blood, she needed help. Jesus knew.
She had to reach.
Jesus knew. She had to reach out. You see what religion can do to man, my brother.
This is very, in 2010, there was a friend that shared a story with us, even though I was really young then. But then he had a business and he started, he was a teacher, like a normal children's Sunday school teacher. He started a business. And I think over a month or even close to a year, his business was going down and he kept raising prayer. How do you call it? Prayer warriors. How do we call them? Yes. And he was always praying with them in the church on it. Like after church, he gathered them and then we pray. But every moment his company was going down until one day he met a business strategist. He met a guy, sat down with him, and he told him, you are not doing this and that and that and that. And within a month, it changed. So when he came back, he was telling us that he is getting a bit confused here. He has prayed for over 6 months. The company kept going down, but just a few encounter with a strategist, things has changed. This is really affirming what you are saying in some way.
Yes, that's it. And there's a caveat to this conversation that it will be very uncomfortable from now. Let me talk about spiritual leaders. In Africa, it's only Africa that spiritual leaders are seen as engineers. They are seen as doctors. They are seen as pharmacists. They are seen as marriage counselors. They are seen as everything.
Yeah, we know
everything.
That.
Yes. They are one man.
They are CEOs of life.
Yes, CEOs of life, like that. 1 man 1,000.
Everything tell your pastor. There are some. There are some families. Unless the pastor agrees, they don't even take decision in the house.
Yes, that is an error.
Africa.
That is an error. There are some situations. Listen, you want to start a business. Yes, you have to pray. That's fine. But to tell me that you are starting a business so they are breaking oil. See, let me use myself as an example. I was starting business in 2018 or 2019 with huge money. And I remember the amount of bottle of oil that we poured to start that business.
You remember the amount?
I remember the amount of bottles of oil that we poured.
Is a lot.
Do you know that business put me in huge debt? I'm not joking. That is one of the businesses I've done in my life that I would always regret. Do you know the pastors that prayed for me when I was going to start that business? That was where these are some of the moments that my mind started changing about how to approach life. Because I went deep into debt, hugely, and I went into depression. I almost died. I'm not joking. This is a well-known story to some of the people who are very close to me. They know. So if I'm talking about these things, I'm talking from experience. I know what I'm saying. Instead of looking for strategies, how to start business strategically, Talk to people who have experience. Talk to people who understand business. Talk to people who are well built when it comes to business. We are believing in oil and pouring it on the ground. And the Bible said, lack of knowledge, my people perish. It didn't say lack of prayer.
That's a great point. He didn't say lack of prayer.
Yes. So
But
if
we
you
are
are
always
going to
making
start,
everything prayer.
yes. So if you are going to start a business, you don't have knowledge, you will perish. If you are going to start a contract, you don't have knowledge about the contract, you will perish. If you are going to start marriage or you're going to marry, you don't have knowledge, you will perish. If you are going to start schooling or you're going to write an exams, you don't have knowledge, you will perish. So anybody who goes to an exam room and says, I've not learned, but God will write for me, you will perish. Anybody, it's just like driving. Let me just give you that a typical example. If you don't know how to drive, no matter how much someone forces you to go and sit behind the wheel, God will protect you. You will not do it. So why is it that you don't know how to do business, but someone is forcing you to go and do? God will help you think that you can do it? No knowledge, no victory. No knowledge, no victory.
Wow. No knowledge.
So what? No
victory.
victory. So no matter how much a pastor will tell you to go and start, God is with you. That's why I said, do you know the pastors that told me that this is the breakthrough of my life?
Goodness.
Before I started that business, I went for all nights. I met pastors. Everybody will lay hands. You are on the top. You have become this, you have become that. My brother, do you know that it took my mentor? Yes, it took my mentor to sit me down. The day he sat me down, he sat me in a chair. He said, Michael, this chair you are sitting in, people pay 1,500 euros an hour to listen to me. Sit down, let me talk to you. I didn't pay anything. He spoke sense into my head. I followed this man for over 1 year and I got to understand what I need to do. If I had that experience from him before going for that prayer, I would have succeeded because I had knowledge. Knowledge combined with prayer.
Prayer.
Brother.
Mike, I want you to stress on that side very well for us, which means that when we are talking about knowledge, you even made mention that out of that situation, you have to change your mind. It means that there are some of our people, they hold certain mindsets. Like sometimes it's so shocking. Like the statement people make, it's mind blowing. And so I want us to stretch that point very well for people. There's a way we need to come out with a certain mindset. Even though we are Christians, even though we are Muslims, what are the mindset that we need to carry to be able to progress, to be able to come out of this situation from the beginning?
The only mindset you need is that if there is anything that limits you from becoming the better version of you, then it is a problem. The mindset you need is that if there's anything that makes you over dependent on spirituality rather than thinking how to solve the problem, then there is a problem. You see, I've met people who are very sick and they tell me that they went for prayers and then the pastor gave them water to drink and then they will be healed. I don't have a problem. God is a miracle working God. He does all these things. The same God also gave the same knowledge to doctors. Are you telling me doctors just woke up and they became doctors? Yes, they went to learn, but how? God enabled everybody to become who they are. So if he has given knowledge and understanding to a doctor to solve a problem, and you still come, it's just like, let me tell you this. It's just like you have a daughter or you have a son, and you have given them, maybe $500. All right. That is the allowance. That's the allowance every week that you are giving them $500 every week. Now, your daughter has gone out and your daughter have seen, say, maybe a pen to write. You see, a pen will not even cost up to $1. And your daughter calls you on phone and tells you, Daddy, I've seen a pen. Can you buy it for me? What will be your first reaction? I just gave you $500. Not for the month, for the week, or even for the day, whatever. And you have $500 in your wallet. And you've gone out, you've seen a pen that costs like 50 cents or $1. And you still call me that you need me to send you $1 to buy that pen. You as a father, what will be your reaction? Genuinely, your first reaction will be like, what? I just gave you $500.
Yeah. Yeah.
That will be your
Which
first
is
reaction.
way more than what you are requesting.
That is the same thing we are dealing with God. The same way he said he has given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. In other words, it's not just spiritual things, my brother. It's not only it means that when it comes to your health, he has given you a doctor. When it comes to your marital issue, he has given you a counselor. If you when it comes to your business, whatever, he has given you a consultant, he has given you an accountant. When it comes to your children, he has given parents. When it comes
all
to
that pertains to life.
all that pertains to life and godliness.
I didn't see it
And you
from
are
this
sick.
angle. Wow.
You see? And you are sick. And you are still going to God and say, God, you are a miraculous God. You are a miraculous God. God will be a miraculous God. Go to the doctor. He gives you a medication and God will add his miracle. Don't understand, my brother. Yeah. You see, that is why it blows my mind, even when a religious group will say that we don't do blood transfusion.
Yeah.
And in recent times, the same religion has written letters. They've brought a letter out that now you can do blood transfusion. Go and put your blood in the hospital and store it. When you need it, you can use it. This will tell you that religion is man-made and they can change their minds at any time. You have churches that are telling prayer warriors that God has called you to be prayer warriors. You don't have to work. God will take care of.
And one sad part is at the end of the day, all those people will be contacting those who they unquote see them as faithless because they are putting strategies in place.
Yes.
And because they are working, they will call them for their bills. They will call them for transportation. They will call them for food, for money to buy food.
You see, so if we are saying that religion has caused us more harm than good, this is what we are talking about. We are talking about the Africa that will think of praying instead of planning. We are talking about the Africa that will think of saying that we are waiting on God instead of bringing a plan. Say, God, this is my plan. David, see, at every time, David depended on God. At the same time, David was a well-strategic warrior. He knew how to draw his plans. He knew when to attack the enemies.
Wow.
That is the difference. That's the difference between them and us. But our religion has told us that cast your burdens onto Jesus. He will do everything. Same Jesus that
all
came to
your
the earth,
burdens. All
your burdens. And then he will do everything. Listen, the same Christ that we serve, the same Christ that came, and then the same Christ that went to the temple to learn, the same Christ that was sitting at the feet of teachers, learning every Sunday or every Sabbath day because he had a ministry ahead of him. The same Christ.
Michael, this conversation is really, and if you are in Africa, you will really appreciate the value of this. Even if you are not in Africa, you would pick a lot of sense, a lot of information from what we're discussing.
Yeah.
One key thing that I picked from what you are saying, it means that, some people believe that planning is faithlessness. Some people, and that is what you are trying to debunk. That is what you are trying to deconstruct. I want to use my word again.
That's why I asked that. Yes, that's why I asked that. If planning is faithlessness, tell me whoever in the Bible that God used that was not a good planner. All of them were strategic. Why do you think we call them patriarchs? All of them. Look at Noah. Noah was a builder. Listen, do you know when God was giving Noah instruction, he was giving him measurements. He was giving him exact measurements.
Yeah.
What should this length should be here, the breadth should be here, this should be this should be this, this should be this. You think if you don't know this measurement, it should tell you that even among all those people that were there at the time, God knew someone he needed one person who had that head to carry it.
Yeah.
In other words, if God wants to save Africa's economy, he will look for the person that had economic head. Not you that you are sitting in your room that every day you are praying that God help me, I need an encounter, help me, lift me. He will bypass you. Religion. I'm not a religious person. Trust me, I'm not. And the word religious, see, the word religious means the following of procedure. That's what it means. If you say you are religious, it means that you follow procedure. What procedure have they put in place for you to follow? It means that they have limited your thinking. You, instead of thinking of your own procedure to make life big, you are following procedure. That is religion.
You are making a very serious statement here.
That's why I said I'm not a religious person. No, I'm not.
So who are you? Not to just bring it up. So who are you
Oh,
now?
right now, right now, I'm a friend of God.
You're a friend of God. So the reason I asked that question is that because if somebody has been listening from the beginning to this point, they will be a bit confused. Maybe for us, they may be thinking, I have been religious. What is this man trying to make? What is the point he's trying to make, right?
You
So
have
when you say you are a friend of God, it means that you understand God. You are not following any lay down rules, basically.
no.
But
No, I'm doing
you really want to go based on how you understand God and how you
how
see
like
him,
I will experience God. That's what I would do.
how you experience, basically. And that's really great, right? That's really
Mm.
great. Yeah. So
Something just came to mind again.
okay.
Yeah, I remember when I told some friends that I used to go around preaching on pulpits and then preaching and all that. Then I told some
Mm.
of my friends that at this point I feel like I need to stop preaching. I have to pursue business and pursue my passion and career. Almost about 90% of my friends told me that I've backslidden.
I
They
almost
said,
wanted to say that.
yeah, yeah.
Even
That's what
I
that's
almost wanted to say that. Someone who is preaching and you want to stop to start a business. So in essence, we're like a pastor. And you said, I'm dropping
yeah.
the work of God to look into something else. If I'm not careful, they'll even quote scriptures for you. Oh
Yeah.
my
They most of the
goodness.
I remember people calling me here and there telling me that no, you are veering from the call of God. And what is the
Yeah.
call of God? See, the call of God happens in the space you find yourself. It is
Mm.
not limited to the pulpit. The call of God happens in the area, the space you find yourself. It's not limited to the pulpit. No, it's not.
Mm.
So if you're a doctor, you have a calling. Yes, that is your field. If you are a nurse, you have a calling. God can use you through that same place. If you're a business person, God has called you to be a businessman. That is your space. God has called us to dominate the world. He hasn't called us to limit ourselves with rules.
Yeah.
That is why he himself gave laws. But when he realized that laws were limitations, the law was causing problems, he brought Christ.
Yeah. Michael, this has been an interesting one. The point we are making is that the people or whoever is listening to us should understand that planning and faith can be mixed together.
Yeah.
You can serve God and still have plans and still be strategic in winning, coming out with the best. And we are not saying that leave your faith. We are not saying that don't believe in God. All that we are saying is that with your faith, you can do more. And you made mention that God has made us to dominate. You know, that's what, in fact, for Christians in Genesis, God said he will make us in his own image. And what was it? He said we should dominate. So in essence, our goal is to reach out to the world. So if we are trying to push together, we should see ourselves beyond just the mosque. We should see ourselves just beyond the church and then see what God has placed in us and how we can impact the globe as Christians or as Muslims or even as spiritual people. Let me put it in that way.
All right. So thank you everyone for staying. Thank you, Emmanuel, for that lovely conclusion. And I will say that whenever you are faced with a problem, number one, pray. Number two, plan. Number three, get out of the problem. This is the 3 stages. If you can't do these things, then religion is blinding you, my brother.
Every week we'll be coming up with this. This is just a way of encouraging us and supporting a good cause. So subscribe, like, share, comment, and help us grow. Yeah.